Okay. So how do I graph number 1? Yep, open down at 3. And then what? Yep, error to the right. All right, do we remember what kind of inequality that is on number 2, what it's called? Anyone? There's 2 kinds. It's this or this. Yep, so this one's an and. Okay, so how would I graph this one? Yep. Closed out, yeah. And then, yep. All right, and then y equals 2x minus 3. So what am I going to plot first? Yep, the y-intercept, which is what? Negative 3. So here, negative 3, put your first point. And then what's my slope? Yeah. So we go up 2 over 1. As many times as I need / want to get a good line. Okay? All right, and then y equals 4. What would that graph look like? Yep, a horizontal line going through 4. Because there's no what? No x. Yep, if that was y equals 4x, that means you start at 0 and go up 4 over 1. Okay? All right, so these are today called piecewise functions. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. All right, so your objective is students will be able to graph functions that have different rules over different intervals. Okay, so this is what a piecewise function looks like. It's very strange looking. It's very complicated looking. Basically what it is it's if somebody were to take 3 different lines, or however many, it could be more than 3, 3 different lines and graph them all on the same coordinate plane, and then they go in and they say, okay, this line's only allowed to exist from here to here, this line's only allowed to exist from here to here, and that one's only allowed to exist from here to here. Okay? So then they had to erase the pieces of the line that like cross the boundary. Okay? So this one, if we look, I'm gonna kind of use different colors and try to explain this. And then don't forget, this is f of x equals is the same as y equals. Okay? So my boundary lines are happening at -2 and +6. So I'm just going to draw those in really quick. That's where those dots are. Oh, yeah, -2, yeah, +6. I don't think this is right. Yeah, no, this should be a +2 right here. Let's change this. To switch those to be a +2. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that this one, it's y equals -x minus 5. That's this line over here, okay? So if I were to extend this line, going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, it would go through -5, which is my b, but that piece just isn't allowed to exist with this current graph. So that line right here is only allowed to exist up to -2, and then it has to stop. Okay? But if I were to extend it, it would go through the correct y-intercept and all of that, but I just can't extend it. Okay? So it's like you graph it, and then you erased it up to that point. Okay? And then the next line is just y equals 3, which is what kind of line? Horizontal line. So that's this one right here. And that's only allowed to exist from -2 to +2, right there. Okay? And then your last line is y equals x minus 6. So that's a +1 slope, -6 y-intercept. That's this line. If I were to continue this, it would go through -6 right here. But just that piece of the graph got erased. It's only allowed to exist from +2 over. Does that kind of make sense? Kind of sort of as a concept in general. So it's like you graph all 3 of your lines, and then you erase so that this line only gets this section, this line only gets this section, this line only gets this section. So picture all the lines in a room, and you took duct tape and like taped in the floor, so you have 3 sections of your room, and you have to stay in that section. Okay? So we are going to get to graphing them tomorrow. Today we're only going to focus on just like evaluating them, just to kind of get used to piecewise functions as like just a thing, okay? So the first thing that you need to do for these is you need to figure out which function you're even going to be using based on what your x value is, okay? So let's picture it this way. So we have 3 different functions. So let's picture a number line. So this is 0. All right, so here's our number line, right? So I'm splitting this number line at these boundaries. So this first function you're only going to use up to -3 for x, okay? So at -3 it's going to split. And on this side, you're going to use y equals x minus 3. Only up to -3. Then, from -3 to +5, you're going to use this function, y equals 2x plus 1. And then for anything 5 or bigger, you're going to use y equals 4. So these inequalities over here tell you like where they're being cut, like where the boundaries are happening, okay? So I'm going to number these so we can just say numbers. This will be equation 1, 2, and 3. So your job first is to figure out where your x falls on the number line, and then that'll tell you what equation you're supposed to use, okay? So for this one, we have f of 1. So my x value is what? 1, yep. X equals 1, right? Is what they're asking for. So we were trying to find what y equals. So figure out where on the number line or in the boundaries 1 falls. So 1 is right here, so we're going to use that one. Equation 2. So we're going to use y equals 2x plus 1. And then we're going to plug our x value in for x in that to get what y equals. Okay? So we have y equals 2 times 1 plus 1. What's 2 times 1? 2 plus 1. 3. Yep. On my desk. Thank you. All right. This one, what x value am I using? 6. So figure out where that falls. 1, 2, or 3. Yep, equation 3. So equation 3 is just y equals 4. So that's just going to be your answer. So this is equation 1, 2, and 3. All right, this one, what x value am I using? -7. So figure out which one that falls in. 1. So we're going to use y equals x minus 3. And plug in the x. Y equals -7 minus 3. So what does y equal? Negative. Okay, now what x value am I using here? So it's whatever's in parentheses. 5, yep. Okay, and then here, very important, if it lands on the boundary line, the x value, you have to go and look and see, it's not going to be included in both, it's one or the other. So if you go here and look, only one of them is going to have the line with that number. So which one has the line with the 5? 3, yep. So this one's equal to 5, that one's only up to 5 but not equal. Okay, so the 5 falls in the third one. So then it's just going to be what? Y equals 4, yep. Kind of new, yeah. All right, so we're going to pause there. Okay, so for this one, I'll make a little number line. Okay, so remember that this tells you what the equation is, the rule. This tells you where, okay? So where is like my first split happening? What x value? 2. No, 2. That's right. So 2, and then what's the next one happening at? And 4. Okay, so if you are less than or equal to 2, then the equation you're using is y equals 3x minus 4. If you're between 2 and 4, the equation you're using is y equals x plus 5. And then if you're bigger than 4, you're using y equals x. So for A, what's my x value for this one? 3. So is 3 going to be less than 2, between 2 and 4, or bigger than 4? Between 2 and 4. So you're going to use y equals x plus 5. And plug the 3 in for x. So y equals what? 8. Lucas, taking notes, right? All right, what's my x value for this one? 2. Okay, so 2 is where our split is happening, so you have to figure out which one 2 is included in it out of these. So look to see where the equal to line is. Which one is the first one or the second one? The first one. So see how it's like less than or equal to 2 right here, guys? Okay, so it's going to be in the first one, so y equals 3x minus 4. We plug the 2 in. So what's that going to equal? Y equals what? 2. All right, and then x equals -8. Is that going to be in the first, second, or third? First. And what's y equal there? Yeah, -28. And then x equals 6. Is that in the first, second, or third? Third. So use y equals x, so it's just y equals 6. Okay, any questions? Okay. So now we're going to focus on graphing them. I'm going to show you like the 2 ways to do it. Well, like 3-ish, kind of. Okay, so one of the ways that you can graph these, so basically like you have 2 equations of a line, and then one of the lines can only exist like to the left up to the split, and then the other line takes over and exists on the other side, okay? So where is my split happening here? At -1. So at -1 is jumping from one line to the other. So I'm going to just, for like visual, I'm going to draw a dotted line. Normally you wouldn't draw this, but just so we can like visualize this, okay? Okay, so one way that that you could do this is you could plug the -1 into both of your equations, see where that would fall on the y-axis, and then graph your line from there. So here, if I plug, we have y equals, actually, I can do this in pen because we're not doing this method yet. All right, so if I have y equals -x minus 1 plus 1, -x plus 1 for x equals -1. Let's plug that in. So y equals -1 plus 1. That's going to be +1 plus 1, which is what? 2. Yep. So this first equation, when on this -1 line, it's going to be at y equals 2. Okay? Look at your symbol. Is it going to be an open dot or a closed dot at 2? Open, yep. And then from there, you can just use your slope to like graph your line, okay? So what's my slope of that line? Yeah, -1. So normally I would go down 1 over 1, right? But that's the wrong side of the line, so I just need to reverse it, so I go that way, okay? So here. Mm-hmm.
So the rule part, like the first part, would that be like the form of y plus b?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is like y equals -x minus 1, so that would technically be your y-intercept, but we just can't exist on the y-axis because it's only on the left. So you just kind of only graph the part of the line that you're allowed to have.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this one, y equals 2x, for x equals -1, y equals 2 times -1, which would be what? -2. So, and this is an open dot or closed dot?
Open. Oh, close.
Closed because it has the line. So at -2, you're gonna have a closed dot. So on these like lines where the split is happening, you're always gonna have one open dot and one closed dot because the idea is that like it's going from one equation and the other one's taking over at that point. Okay. And then what's my slope of this one? 2. So from here, you're going up 2 over 1. Like that. Okay, do you guys want to try the next one or do you want to do it together? Do it together. Okay. So let's plug in 2 to both of these. So y equals -2x minus 1. Y equals -2 times 2 minus 1. What's that going to equal? Nope. -5, yep. So that point is going to be 2 comma -5. And then if I plug 2 into the other one, y equals -x plus 4. What's that going to equal? 2. Yep, so that points me 2, comma 2. All right, and then which one's open, which one's closed? First one's closed. Second one's open. Okay, so I'm gonna put I just like have to have that line. I don't know why. It's like a comfort thing. Okay, so the first one's at 2, -5 and closed. And then what's my slope of this one? Guys, look at the equation. What's my slope of this one? Just over 1. Yep, so -2. So normally I would go down 2 over 1, but that's going on the wrong side of the line. So just reverse it, okay? Okay, and then the second line is open at 2, 2. And what's my slope of this line? Guys, and more people should be able to tell me the slope of this. -1, yep. So down 1 over 1. So just like that. So that's one method. Taking like where the split is happening, that x value, and figuring out where the point's going to be, and then graphing from there. Okay. The next method is you're going to need a pencil and eraser. So have a pencil and an eraser. So what you can do for this method is you're basically going to graph both of your whole lines, and then you're just going to erase the parts that you're not allowed to have. Okay. So here, my two equations that I have are, remember this is y equals -2, and y equals 1/4 x minus 1. So let's graph both those lines. Y equals -2, what kind of line is that? So it's only y but no x. You have a horizontal line. So at -2, you have a horizontal line. And for this method, you want to make sure that your line goes all the way across your whole graph because you don't know where you're going to have to erase. Okay? So it needs to cover the whole thing. All right, for this one, what's my b? -1. And then what's my slope? 1/4. So we're going to go up 1 over 4. Okay. Okay, good so far? Yes? Okay, now what you're going to do is put your line in. So where is my split happening? At -1. Okay, so this first line is only allowed to exist to the left of -1. So everything on the other side you're going to erase. And then is that one going to have an open dot or a closed dot? Closed dot, yep. So then put a closed dot on that one. Okay, and then my second line is only allowed to exist to the right of -1, and is that an open dot or a closed dot? Open, so let's erase everything on this side of that line. put your open dot right there. They're like really close to each other. So that's another way you can do that. Okay, so graph both your lines and then just erase the parts that aren't supposed to exist. That kind of makes sense? More sense than the first one? It's up to you how you want to do it. I do a combination. I'll do the next like problem. I'll like walk you guys through how I do that one. Okay, so you guys try the got it. So using either method that you want to use, try to get that graphed. Mm-hmm.
If I get some help, I was pretty sure for this.
Okay, here, let me give you. So basically, basically graph your lines and then just like erase or do whatever to make it only exist on that side. If it's wrong, like look at this and then ask you questions. Are we done? Or done enough for me to go over it? Yeah, okay. All right. So for this one, so we have y equals 2x minus 3 and y equals 5. So the way that I will typically do this is I'll put my line in, so at 3. So it's kind of like the erase method I do. I just like, instead of having to erase, I just don't put my pencil down until I'm at the part that I can, okay? So for this one, y equals 2x minus 3. What's my y-intercept? -3, and then what's my slope? 2/1. So -3, so I'm on the left side of the line, and I'm allowed to be on that side. So -3, and then up 2/1. And then when I get to that, then I'm going to stop graphing and look, am I going to have an open or closed dot? Closed. And then just continue the other direction if you want. Okay, and then y equals 5. What kind of line is that? Horizontal line at 5. So normally I would start here and then draw my horizontal line, right? So I just won't put my pencil down until I get to where I can. And then is this going to be an open or closed dot? Yep, so I'd put an open dot here and then graph that side of the line. That, got it, one way. Thank you. Kind of make sense? Okay. Okay, these next ones are a specific type of piecewise. They're called stepwise. The reason why is because they're all horizontal lines, so they look like stairs, okay? But it's the same thing. So I have y equals -1, y equals 3, and y equals 8. All horizontal lines, and then it's jumping twice. So where's the first spot on this one that it's jumping? -4. And then what's the next spot? Okay, so it's going to be y equals -1 for anything less than -4. So is this first one going to be open or closed? Open, yeah. Y equals. My horizontal line's only going to go that way. So since this one's open, the next one should start with a closed because it needs to take over, okay? Which it does because it has the line. So it's at 3. It closed right here. And then is it open or closed at -1? Closed. Okay, and then so the next one, if this one's closed, the next one should be what? Open. Yep. So, and that's at 8. And that one's going to go this way. Like that. Not too bad? Okay, so you guys try this one now. So don't forget to draw your lines in so you know where it's allowed to be. For this one, where is my first jump happening? At 1, and then what about the next one? So we have -9, and is it open or closed there? Closed. Okay, and then at -5, so this one should be open because the other one was closed. And then is it open or closed at 6? Okay, so then the next one should be open, and that's at +9, going this way. That's what it should look like. Good? Cool. All right, for your lesson check, all right, so I'm going to give you a piecewise function, and then you're going to find an x value. Okay, and this one you're going to graph. Okay, get those down. Okay, so for the first one, where's the 2 going to fall in? The first one, second one, or third one? So where's 2 going to fall? The second one, yep. So we're going to use y equals -x minus 4. Y equals -2 minus 4, so you should get -6 for that answer. Good? Okay, then this one, the split's happening at 5. All right, so if y equals x minus 5, what's my y-intercept on this one? -5. And what's my slope? 1. So up 1 over 1. Now I'm just going to stop when I get to that line. And is it open or closed there? Closed. Okay, then this one, the bottom one, what's my y-intercept? Nope. Y-intercept? What's my b? 0. Yep. Sorry, 0. I'm just not going to draw anything, but I'm not going to until I get to line. Okay? So then what's my slope? 1 over 2, so up 1 over 2. So it was right here, the point before the line. So you can just kind of see like where it would be. Something like that. Huh? Or you could graph the whole line and then erase if you want. Good? Do you have any questions? Okay, so we're gonna move on to 4-7. It's short. Start working on the prior knowledge check for that. Take like 2 minutes.